I've started this recording. Okay, let's start. So, Arshad bhai, what I have done, I have shared one file over here on the drive.
Mhm.
Okay, on this drive, no, you see that AZ900 ODT.
Okay.
Okay, I have shared this file. You just open this file. Okay. So yesterday we will just refresh the concepts. Okay, we will just reiterate once again. Okay, what is cloud? Like renting of IT services. Services like IT infrastructure, networking, storage, database, software applications over the internet provided by CSP, cloud service provider like AWS, Azure, GCP, on request on demand basis. A request on demand means you require per minute, hourly, monthly, yearly, etc. As per the individual, who can use the cloud services? Any individual who is doing a startup or who already have a company. Okay. So he is going to use. So individual or company's requirement for cost efficiency. Okay. I have added these words, Arshad bhai. Efficiency, scalability, elasticity, high availability for their workloads. What do you mean by workloads? Workload would be their storage, their data, their server, their application, anything. Okay. Why we are using cloud? To avoid minimal business impact. Okay. What are the type of clouds? We have public, we have private, we have hybrid, we have dedicated host. Now, what are the service model? So, generally the cloud has three. Hello, Arshad
Yes,
bhai?
bhai.
Yes, yes, bhai. I'm there.
Okay. So this is the sheet. Okay. You, what is cloud?
Okay.
And
Types of
then
cloud.
types of cloud, then service model. Service models is what? Infrastructure as a service. Microsoft
Mhm.
will tell that use our data center, use our infrastructure. You can select your own OS. Okay. You can select your own size, how much RAM you require. Okay. How much hard disk you require, how much CPU processor you require, GPU if any. Okay. You tell us, we give you the infra and we will charge you accordingly. Okay. Infrastructure as a service. Now, the best example, there are many examples, okay. But what is the best example? VM, virtual machine. Okay. It is a part of infra.
Okay.
Then we
Okay.
have PaaS, platform as a service. Platform as a service, Microsoft will tell you, cloud will tell you that you don't worry about infra as well as the infra as well as the OS dependency. Okay. You don't worry about server. You just let's say for an example, if you want to make a website and if you want to test the code, so what you do, you just write a code, you give us a code, you just run the code, we will give you everything. You just select the language, run the code. So that is one of the example. PaaS, platform as a service. They give you app based services like web app. And what is a software as a service? That you don't worry about the code. Okay. uh, an example.
Sorry to disturb you.
Yeah.
Could you please repeat that pass again?
PaaS is
Platform as a
what?
service.
Platform. Okay, what is infrastructure? They give you infrastructure. What is platform? They build a platform. Everything they give you. They give you virtual machine. They take care of virtual machine. They take care of infrastructure. They take care of mostly everything. Okay, you just
Okay.
let's say that if you want to build your website, in order to
Hmm.
build your website, what you will require? You will require a code, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now where you will write the code, where you will test the code, you are going to test on the server only, no?
Yes.
So they give you everything. You just tell which language you require, which language your code is built on, and what is your code. So
Okay.
there are many platform as a service. Okay. They have got Azure Container Instance, apps, Azure Web App, okay, Azure Container Application, okay, Azure Container Registry. There are many services, but this is just an app services. So you can
Application services.
application services. You can build your app.
Okay, whatever we required, like if we required in the Azure, like Linux, if it is there, then Linux is a platform, the service we
Yeah, so
can say.
I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Let's say for an example, you want to build a website. Okay. Now, in order to build a website, what do you require? First, you decide, okay, that you wanted to build a website on Java, right? Example, if your website is built on Java, in order to write a code, you will require a Java. You
Correct.
can't write a code on a notepad, right? You will require
Right.
Java functionality. So first
Hmm.
you will spin a server. You require a server. Okay, you require a high RAM. You require a high processor. Okay, that depends on what code you have written. And if there is any rendering, or if GPU is required, if that is in your application functionality, so you will require those services. So first you buy a server, okay, then you install the operating system, then you install the Java and whatever the languages or dependency application dependency that you require. If you require, if it is based on .NET, so then you have to install a .NET Windows base. Just an example. So you would require these things, and then once you have these things, then you can write the code. Over here what they do is, Azure gives you the entire they give you the entire platform. Okay, so platform is a combination of a virtual machine. So if your code is built on Java, whatever the functionality you require for Java, everything would be pre-installed. You just have to write, or you just have to run your code. That's it. So that is known as platform as a service.
Cool.
Okay. Then we have a SaaS, software as a service. What do you mean by software as a service? Example,
So,
you know,
so again, we require the software to run the platform and the LAS.
no. Example is what you are just an end user. Software as a
Oh,
service. Software as a
like
service. Hmm.
like you written over here, Office 365. We require
Yeah.
Excel sheet, Word pad
No, you are not making the Excel sheet. No. Excel sheet is what? It is an application. Okay.
application.
Application is built on what? Excel sheet is built on some languages. For that, some languages, what is required? Microsoft is required, and the application dependency is required.
Correct.
Okay. So software is just you are user. You are not coding anything. You are just an end user. Example, Gmail.
Okay.
You are not
Hmm.
creating your own email server. You are not creating your own Exchange server. You are just using the Gmail. So that is known as a software as a service. So they give you the complete package. You just use it. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. So these are the service model. Then we have this uh, unique selling feature, or unique selling feature, or pros of cloud, or merits of cloud. Now in cloud, we have some basic terminologies that we are going to explore. What is scalability? Adding, increasing, or decreasing a capacity or configuration is known as scalability. Now there are four types of scalability: scale up and scale down, scale out and scale in. Okay. Now, Akib, what did you understand by scalability? Yesterday we have discussed, right? So, what is your understanding regarding scalability? Can you explain it to Arshad?
So I think we have to increase and decrease the capacity of the configuration.
Can you tell us more? Can you give us an example?
Example.
Uh, Akib underscore B, can you try?
Maybe scalability is like if you run a server,
Mm-hmm.
so scalability is like capacity of servers. So
Okay. No, no. Very good try. Akib underscore B, good try. See why I am asking you to explain it to each other. Understand that in interview, these are the common questions. So if we prepare during our sessions, so it would be very easier for us to crack the interview with the examples. So interview should be meaningful, right? They just give you a terminology that tell me about scalability. So you just don't have to tell the definition. You have to tell that what is the scalability, what is the definition, and how you have utilized the scalability in your use cases. Okay, in your job. So Arshad bhai, I'll just explain it to you. Scalability. What do you mean by scale? Scalability. It is just a scale. Okay. Scale like a normal scale, ruler. What we use scale for? We use for measurement, right? Arshad
Yes.
bhai. Okay. What
Yes.
do you mean
Yes.
by measurement? Either it should be 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and either it should be decreasing from 4 inch to 3 inch, 3 inch to 2 inch, 2 inch to 1 inch, 1 inch to zero. Right? Either we increase the scale or we decrease the scale. Correct? Now,
Correct.
there are four things in the scale. So this is the same concept that is been used in cloud scalability. There are four, the basic definition. Okay, increase or decrease in the capacity, in the existing capacity or a configuration of a device or infra. Example, Arshad bhai, tomorrow if you go to buy a laptop, do you have any configuration in mind?
Yes.
What configuration you are going to look for? Give me the basic
12 GB.
example.
Yeah, 12 GB RAM and 500 GB hard disk.
If you are not using 500 GB, if you are not using 12 GB, so what do
Mhm.
you do?
So I'm going to purchase the 8 GB RAM and the 250 GB hard disk.
Let's say for an example, if you have already purchased 12 GB laptop and 8
Mhm.
GB RAM, sorry, 500 GB hard disk, you have already purchased. So what you are going to do? Are you going to sell your laptop? No.
No.
Now what happens? This is just a user example. Now let's talk about business example. If a company has a website, right, and if a company is an e-commerce company, let's say you create your own website and you want to sell something online. Let's say you want to sell perfume online. Okay. Now what happens is um, let's say that you have an idea, you created a website. Okay. Once the website is created, you host it on your server. Okay. For that you got the configuration of 4 GB RAM. Okay. 2 cores of virtual CPU and 250 GB of hard disk. This is what you have selected. Okay.
Okay.
Because you are just going to host the website, you're not going to use much. But here, let's say that if you have a customer base of 200 people, just an example, and let's say that Eid is coming, an occasion of Eid is coming in 15 days or so. So you analyze that during Eid, your sale may increase. Now, instead of 200 people, Okay, 1000 people is accessing your website. They want to buy perfumes. What will happen to your website? Your website will crash because it couldn't
Yes.
handle the load. Your website was built for 200 or 250 people, but 1000 people is accessing the website. So what will happen? 1000 people is accessing the website, your RAM will increase, your CPU will increase, and if the database is getting stored, if the number of orders are getting placed, so that will go to your database will become full, your disk will become full, and your server will shut down. That means there is a business loss. So scalability comes here. So what you do normally, you during the occasion of Eid, once you get 1000 customers, so you set up a threshold that if my CPU increase more than 85%, you give me an alert, notify me. Okay. So what I do is, I instead of 2-core vCPU, I will add another 4-core vCPU, another 2 core. So that means total 4 core. Instead of 4 GB RAM, now it will be 8 GB RAM. Instead of 250 hard disk, it will be 500 GB of hard disk. All right. Now what you do once that is increased, so that means you are able to accumulate the traffic, and your website would run smoothly. Now, do you require this configuration for a longer time? No. This is just a peak hours.
Peak hours.
Peak month, you require this configuration. Now, once your Eid is over, you don't require that extra 250. But traditionally, what used to happen on premises, they used to keep extra, okay, in buffer. Now, see, for you, if you go, if you buy extra like 2-core instead of 4-core, so you have to change the entire configuration. That will cost you a lot. And once you don't require, you can't throw away, right? You have to keep the higher configuration. You can't sell it off. But
Yes.
in cloud, what they give you is an option. They give you a reliability. Cloud is reliable. You can rely on cloud. Why? Because you can scale. Scale means whenever you want, you can scale up or scale down. So you can increase the configuration, and if you don't require, you can decrease the configuration, scale up and scale down. All right. Now there is another concept one which is scale out and scale in. Here, what is happening? No, here instead of increasing the CPU and RAM, here you are replicating. You are increasing the server. Let's say, for an example, if you have a server, you have got your website, you have got your application, you have got every application dependency installed on the server. Okay. Your CPU is 2 GB, your RAM is 4 GB, your hard disk is 250 GB. And let's say we have Eid in coming days, 1 or 2. Okay. In coming day 1 or day 2, we'll have an Eid, and we are expecting a huge traffic. So instead of increasing no RAM and this thing, what do you increase? You will just copy that server. You clone the server, right? So now instead of 2 core 4 GB and 250 hard disk configuration, you have two server of similar kind. So two server of 2 cores, two server of 4 GB RAM each, and two server of 250 GB hard disk each. And if you have got like another configuration, example, five instead of 250, you have got 500 GB. So what do? You increase the server, you increase the clone server, and once Eid is over, you get that decrease. So how do you increase and decrease? You do it manually. You set an alert. They give you an alert that let's say that if the RAM is more than 95 percent, if 4 GB is RAM, and if 90%, let's say that if 3.5 GB is used, then you get an alert, and then you increase the server. So that's how it works. Okay. And what do
Cool.
you?
So
Yeah.
sorry,
Tell me. Hmm.
so does it include any money in this process?
There is money because you are increasing and decreasing, right?
Okay. So accordingly that then the company will hire the base of the knowledge of this, right?
Yeah.
Does he provide any conclusion, right? We require the more application with less money, like we can say, or the server
No, that depends on the architect. What is the
architect.
design he
Okay.
is going to propose? Okay. He will ask many questions. Okay. Like how much is your load? Can you give me an example? Can you schedule a meeting with the sales team? I wanted to understand. Okay, how much load you are expecting? Normal. Okay. If it is a small organization. So business intelligence, no, they will generate a report. Let's say these days we are expecting more sales. So they say they will analyze the historical data. So this is a real time example. I mean to say whatever I'm giving, and whatever I gave you earlier, this is just for your understanding.
Yes.
And what do you mean by elasticity? It is an elastic in traditional terms. It is an elastic. But this is something which is elastic. If you stretch it, right? And if you release it, what happens? It goes back to its original position.
Hmm.
Correct? So
Correct.
that is done automatically, right? So this is known as auto scaling. You don't have to do it manually. So that is known as elasticity. What is high availability? It has got minimal downtime. It is available most of the time. Now, in high availability, we have a concept known as Azure guarantee. Azure for some services, no? Azure they have a metaphor, okay, like 9 times 9. So two nines. Let's say that in during 365 days, if they give you that 99% our service is going to up. Let's say if it is a VM, any virtual machine. Just an example. If they tell you that 99% our services is going to be up, that means out of 365 days, if you remove 1%, 1% is what? 3.65 days. Approximately in 1 year, Azure told that there will be only downtime of 365 days, 3.65 days. Now you tell me that if you have your peak business in any of this 3.65 days, what you will do? It will be a loss for you. So you go for another service which has got more guarantee, 99.939. So this is what? 8.67 hours in 1 year. 4 nines is 52.6 minutes. 5 nines is 5.26 minute. 6 9 is 31.5 second, and 9 times 9 is 31.5 millisecond. This is the calculation. Getting me, Arshad bhai? Then
Yes,
we
bhai.
have
Yes, bhai.
resiliency. Now these are the terms which we are going to use during our interviews. Scalability, elasticity, high availability. Okay. Resiliency. What do you mean by resiliency? If there is any failure, okay, how much time the system is going to take to recover itself? Just to make sure that the business has got very, very minimal impact and the end user gets uninterrupted services. Now, what would be the reasons of a system failure? It could be a hardware failure. It could be a software issue, application issue. Okay, if it could be, someone is hacking, security breach. It could be natural disaster, correct? It could be an engineer mistake, that engineer did something and something went down. So the resiliency means it is the ability of a system. System can be anything. It could be an application, it could be an infra, it could be a piece of software. Okay. The ability to continue function and to recover from the issues like failure, software bugs, the natural disaster, just to ensure that it has a minimal downtime and make sure that the services are uninterrupted. Now, under resiliency, there are many factors. How to define resiliency? Okay, what are the components of resiliency? One is redundancy, that your infra is redundant. What do you mean by redundancy? That if one server gets failed, okay, the other takes over. Now in Azure, let's say that we have a data center in Mumbai and we have data center in Hyderabad. Okay. So if Mumbai gets failed, Hyderabad takes over. If Hyderabad gets failed, Mumbai takes over. Just an example. Just to make sure that the business continuity plan. What do you mean by load balancing? Load balancing, it is going to balance the load. It will distribute the traffic just to make sure that the servers are not overloaded. What is automatic failover? Now there are two systems generally. One is primary and one is secondary. Okay. If the primary gets failed, it fail over to the secondary system. Secondary system is up. If the primary get fails, it will send the traffic to the secondary one. That is a failover. Just in layman term. What is a failback? There is one more failover and there is one more concept known as failback. So primary is failed, it goes to secondary. Once the primary is up, so it will fail back to primary. Secondary will go down and it will send the traffic back to the primary. Now, what is the data replication? It will create multiple copies across the region just to make sure that to avoid loss during outages. Let's say if you create a virtual machine, if you replicate it. So now in India, there are two data centers we could consider, Mumbai and Hyderabad, sorry, Pune and Hyderabad. So if you are creating a virtual machine in Pune, so automatically if you select the service, so the data would be replicated in when? In where? Data would be replicated. Data would be replicated on Hyderabad data center.
Hyderabad.
So if Bombay goes down, Hyderabad will take over. That is known as data replication. Now, what is monitoring and alerts? Monitoring, you are monitoring a server. Why you are monitoring? Because we want to detect the issues before issues early, okay, and make sure that we have got we action it. So we just assume that the issue is going to come. Example, if the CPU is 100%, what will happen? Server will shut down, correct? So we monitor the CPU and we set up the alert that if the CPU goes more than 93 or 95%, you give us an alert. So before it shut down, we will add more CPU. Same goes with RAM. Same goes with hard disk. Okay. Then we have Azure core services. What are the core services? Virtual machine is there. Then we have Azure web app. We have got Azure function. So these are a part of compute. So in core services, there are many services that we are going to explore, but we will talk about some services just for our understanding. One is compute, one is storage, one is networking. In compute, we have virtual machine, we have app services, we have Azure function. Okay. Serverless. What do you mean by serverless? Because server is not required for us. We don't require to create a server. Microsoft is going to take care of it. Okay. We have storage. Okay. Storage, there are three types of data, okay, in storage. One is what? Anyone read it for me?
Unstructured data.
Okay. So there are three, okay, types of data. One is unstructured. What would be the second one? Any guess?
Structured.
Structured.
Structure. What would be the third one? Semi-structured,
Semi-structured.
Okay.
partially structured and partially unstructured. Okay. So storage, whenever we talk about unstructured data, what do you mean by unstructured data? Which is not in a form of column and rows, which is not in a form of a database. Okay. So we have got blob, binary large object. So unstructured data is stored in the binary large object. What could be unstructured data? Give me an example, Akib bhai.
No SQL.
What do you mean by no SQL? Example.
Means the data is not in the form of tables and columns.
Which data is not in a form of tables and columns?
audio, video, pictures.
Correct. Audio, video, images.
Images, file,
Which file? Text files, log file.
text file. Log.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a attributes of unstructured data. Then we have a file. File type. File type means this is a shared storage. File sharing. File share. Okay. Example. This is the example of a file share. I created one folder. Okay. This is the SMB file share. I created one folder. Example. I shared you the link and all of you can access the folder. Okay. This is an example of a file share. Then we have a disk. So on server, we have a disk, right? So this is for
Yes.
virtual machine storage disk. Then we have a networking. In networking, there are many services, but just